Welcome to Boss. I'm Johnnie Lloyd with Johnnie Lloyd & Associates, and it's a pleasure to be here with you today. This is an exciting time to build resilience in our finances. And as you can see from the screen, it's getting beyond the crisis. It's not just this crisis, but we're always dealing with something in our lives. And it's learning savvy things, really resilient, savvy things for our finances. So as we move forward, before we move forward, I'd like to let you know a little bit more about me. I have over 47 years of accounting background. I have once been homeless and I've lived in over $1 million home. So I know money. I'm an accountant by nature and I've worked for the government in various aspects, as well as nonprofit and profit arenas. And this is what I know. I know money is not emotional. I know money is not intellectual. And I know money makes a difference in our life. So I just want you to know that the tips and tricks that you'll get today can be used in your business as well as your personal life. It's not either or, it's and. So as we go forward, before we go forward, I'd like to also thank Josh and our sponsors, because Boss makes a difference. And so today we're gonna rock and roll. One other thing, don't forget about the chat. Put information in the chat, things that really connect with you, because at the end of this, I'm gonna take the chat and I'm gonna break it apart, and then I'm gonna give someone, every time you respond is gonna be a chance to win 2 hours of either business or personal coaching, and that is free to you, and one person's gonna get that. So get active and invite other people to the chat. Let's get rolling. Now, in the middle of any crisis, what happens is typically you become clear. You become clear in every area of your life. It's not just about the crisis, it goes beyond the crisis, because our brain is set up in such a way that it really doesn't like change. So crisis forces us to move forward. Now, none of us asked for any of this. This pandemic is real, and I'm not knocking any of that. But what I know is every decision you make from this point forward makes a difference, as it relates to your time, as it relates to your money, as it relates to your business, and as it relates to your life. So when you look at this, you said in every situation, life is asking us a question, and our actions are the answer. So every time you vote with a decision, you're answering the question with what you're saying. And then the other thing is, in every seed of defeat, every seed of adversity is a greater seed of equal or greater opportunity. And that's by Napoleon Hill. So the first thing you need to do is look at, where are you right now in your personal finances? Where are you right now in your business finances? It makes a difference, because it's just like GPS. If you don't know or allow the machine to tell you where you are, you most certainly cannot get where you need to go. So the GPS, knowing where you are, having self-awareness will absolutely matter, and it will cause you to move forward faster. It's not about fear, it's about awareness. So that's one of the biggest keys about this as we move forward. The other thing is, we have to be intentional. You need to be intentional in our life. Every decision, and you'll hear me say that over again, every decision matters. Because when we say yes to something, we're saying no to something else. So our decisions must be intentional. And we have to look at, what is the one thing that could change everything? We don't know what that one thing is, but when we are intentional about the decisions we make on a daily basis, when we include ourselves in that decision-making process, all of those things will become better. Because we're like banks. No deposit, no return. If you don't deposit in yourself, if you don't give back to yourself, if you don't grow yourself, personal development, leadership, all of those things, then there is no way that you'll get the greatest return on your investment, because you're coming from an empty vessel. The other thing is, determine what's urgent and what's important. That's important. Determine what's urgent and what's important, because during the day, we can actually be so stuck on making things happen that we don't do the one thing that we need to get done that day. So that's important. The other thing is, what are you offering that's irresistible? And that's what I thought. I said, what are people offering in your business or to yourself or to others that's absolutely irresistible, that makes you different, that makes people come for you or the product or service you have? What makes you you? What is your why? What causes us to put our money down? Because in this time where we're looking at our resources a little bit different, we have to consider, what am I offering my customer? Who is my customer? And where do we go from here? So the next thing would be amazing money habits. Now, I've been looking for this money tree for a minute. I have not found this money tree. So if you find this money tree, tell me. Send me a text or something. And the key about it is the money comes actually between our heads. The thing between our ears is probably one of the richest resources that we have. When we use our brain, when we use our innovation, when we use all of those things, it will connect to the money. It's a tip to get in sync with what we know we want, and our subconscious mind never sleeps. So we should give our subconscious mind something to work with to get us to our goal, because it's not just writing a goal, it's how we perceive how we're going to win that really matters. Because if you write down a goal but you don't do anything toward it, it's just a dream. And it can become your nightmare. And we don't want that to happen. So this matters. So this is what we don't want to do. Don't leave money on the table. If you're looking at a contract or you're looking at something like that, don't leave money on the table. Think of the long term. Get beyond the crisis that you're dealing with. So I recommend to all my customers that they look at it from 5 or more years, how they want their life to unfold, how they want their business to unfold. And think outside the box. Don't limit yourself. This is a time to reinvent yourself. This is the time to look at your business structure. This is the time all bets are off. Let's rock and roll. This is that time. And look at how you can help other people, how you can bring things together. What is irresistible in your company? What is irresistible about you? And then think about how you can deliver it better. Because everything that we were doing, we're not going to keep on doing. So in crisis, it brings us clarity, which typically brings some closure, not necessarily closure to your business, but closure to things that saying, this is not urgent, this is not important. It was great to have 50,000 items that I was selling. Now I need to look at the books and see what are my top 10, top 100, top 50 things that are bringing in the income, and then look beyond that. And we're going to talk a little bit more about our inventory in a minute. So don't forget, find your secret sauce. Now, are you looking at, sorry, we're open? Or are you looking at, yay, we're open? Which one are you doing? Are you saying, oh my gosh, we got to open? Or are you saying, yay, it's about time? And part of that is connected to the way you feel. And when you know how you feel about being open, even though everything may not be settled, knowing how you feel is the first step as to drawing people into your space, drawing people back to your organization. Because when you say, yay, we're open, what ends up happening is that people see that energy, they feel it, and you tap into your clients and your customers in such a way that it makes a huge difference. Now, this is one of the slides that is going to be a little bit deep, because what I want to talk about a little bit is find what your service mix for 2019 was. What was your service mix for 2019 before all of this happened? And when you look at that, we're talking about strategy. When you look at that, what makes the difference now? What has shifted and what are you going to do? I'll use me as an example. In 2019, I was speaking. I was going out to larger groups. speaking to the military groups and all of that, 1,500 people, well, that ain't happening, okay? So I'm having to shift what I was doing to another level because I really had not put a lot of effort into doing anything online. I hadn't put a lot of effort into any of that because I knew I could go out and speak 2 or 3 times or 5 times a month, and that would do what I needed to do for my company. That would give me the space and build the things I needed. That will allow me to sell all the books and all the things that I sell. But now that that's off, I've had to go back in and restructure and look at what do I need to do to still benefit from my why. Because see, my purpose has not changed. Your purpose has not changed. The key is how do you do it now? How do you do it in this new environment? How do you accomplish what you need to accomplish in this season? And who do you need around you to help you do that? Do you need a mentor? Do you need somebody from SCORE for the SBA? Do you need somebody, a mastermind group? Do you need somebody else to partner with you in the space that you have because you are brick and mortar and you want to stay that way? Nothing wrong with that. However, look at your expenses, look at what you're doing. What is your current business model? And it's not just about what you want, it's about what are your customers going to do? What are they going to embrace? What are they going to enjoy? Because a lot of restaurants, for an example, they have to now spread out. There's some CDC guidelines that they have to live with. There's a whole bunch of dynamics to that. So if you're a restaurant or even if as a company, let your customers know how you're protecting them for 2 reasons. One is pandemics are not covered on your insurance policy. Absolutely not covered. So you want to make sure as a company, as an owner, that you follow all the guidelines that you need to follow for Virginia, CDC, all of that, so that if anything comes up and someone comes after you, that your 6 is covered. That's your backside, okay? You need to make sure that you're covered because if you leave yourself out there because you're doing what you want to do, that could cause you some negative connotations in the future. And we don't want that to happen to you. So make sure you do that. Now, the other thing is, when you look at it, you may be back open, but what is your recovery plan? How is your money aligning to that? What are you doing with your old stock? The things that while you were closed was sitting in the building. Do you need to do anything and have some fast moving action to get rid of the old stock before the deadline date? The expiration date of the merchandise? Do you need to do a sale? Look at all of those things to bring your customers back, to have them reconnect to you, because that is important. And then look at how you can gain market share. There are some people that are really closing, and I'm not knocking that because everybody has to make their own decision. Remember that. Everybody has to make their own decision, and everybody has a different risk tolerance level. So when you look at what your risk tolerance level is, what your lifestyle is, all of that, you can look at what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do, how you move forward or how you stand still. And let me say this, change is the only thing that is always moving. It is. Change just happens. Now, this was a disruption. This was not just an interruption, it was a disruption. It was like walking into a brick wall. So re-look at how you can still do your why, you can still walk out your purpose, however, you're gonna have to shift up some things. If you were selling, whether it be people drive up and you were handing them products or giving them services, you might wanna continue to do that. If you were online, you've never been online before, you want to continue to do that because you want to build a business that has more than one stream of income. Because there is something else that's going to happen, and I'm not saying COVID, is other things that's going to happen. Crisis happen is real, okay? So you want to make sure you do that. And then ask your customers their opinions. Ask them how you can better serve them, because it's about them. And once they see that, once they continue to feel that, you'll see the door start swinging back open. You'll see more and more people coming. And don't be afraid to get online. Don't be afraid to do video. Don't be afraid to connect with people. Don't be afraid to do that. Do it, and do it well, because people matter and your decisions will matter. Don't forget, it's not just about you. The next thing would be, these are acronyms. What's in it for them, or what's in it for me? This is the key. Most people are looking at it when you go out and you network and you do things like that. You're looking at what's in it. Typically, we look at what's in it for me. We're building relationships. We're telling other people what we do, and we're telling them that because we want them to get our services, that kind of thing. Don't move forward on the fear factor. Look at networking differently. Look at it through the lens of collaboration. Look at it as an anticipation, and make deals. All of those things will matter. So you want to look at it for what's in it for them. When you go networking, look at the situation and say, what do you do? Give me some information, because we're doing a lot of networking online. So find out more about people. Then go out and look at their websites. Find out how you connect. How can you collaborate? How can you help them? And then how can you get help? Don't go in with the mindset of what can they do for me? Go in with the mindset of going in to help them. And as you help them, your business will grow, your visibility will grow, all of that will happen. It will happen because it's a seed of opportunity. It's a seed that you desire to grow because you need a harvest on that seed. Life is too short, and your vision, your purpose, your destiny is calling forth. Because when you do that for other people, people are going to come forward and do it for you. It may not be the person that you did that for, but it will be someone. Because everybody needs to care about more than themselves. This is a time of community. This is a time of just looking at it not from our lens, which is myopic, which we have barriers on looking at just our bottom line. It's more than that. Look at how you can build what I call partnerability factor. The partnerability factor is this. I'm in an amazing facility right now, and they have partnered with other business owners to come together in such a way that it's not one, it's them together. And the services that they're offering are similar, but not the same. They're complementing each other. They're not competing against one another. So when you look at your brick and mortar, when you look at your business, look at the bottom line. Yes, absolutely. Use what you have. Absolutely. Do what you can. Absolutely. But look at how you can add value, or how you can bring someone else in, maybe to your brick and mortar building, where you can look at it and you can share the rent now, or you can share the space, because you complement each other. You don't have to stay complimenting each other for the rest of your life. You can have an exit strategy if you like. But when you do that, or if you decide to do that, make sure you do it and you do the documents that support that, because you want to have an agreement. You don't want to just say, hey, come on in and we'll figure it out. No, you want to have some structure. You want to have an agreement. You want them to know what they need to bring to the table, and then make it so that it's a partnership where that is the factor. Because then as you grow, what moves forward is you both move forward stronger. Now, tips, we know. So when you look at budgeting, it's not really about what you know, it's what you do. Budgeting is about what you do. Financial success of an entrepreneur is about what you do. Obligations and liabilities, look at those things when you look at tips for for resilience, budgeting, and financial savvy. Look at what you owe. Prioritize your bills, contact the people. If you're delinquent or late, or you need some flexibility, contact the person you owe money to. Don't let them think that you're not going to contact or reach out. Then hold on aggressively. Don't start paying down debt yet until you have your emergency fund identified or reestablished. Make sure you do that. And then you want to increase your resourcefulness. You want to take practical action steps to impact your financial readiness for the next level. That is imperative. You want to make sure that you are ready for the next level. And then you want to look at, like I said, old stock. And then before you scale down, you want to make sure, before you scale up, you want to make sure that you can scale down. You want to look at the things that you offer. You want to look at what you're doing and see what's valuable. Look at your cost of goods sold. Look at what it costs you to provide the service that you're providing, and is the price in alignment with that? And then look at the sales. Are the people saying no, they don't want it, or they want something different? So look at all those things. If you're an organization, especially a restaurant, or you sell product and even services, you have to look at your cost of goods sold. Because if you're selling it intentionally low to get them in the door so that they would buy, or you can increase the value of their sale because they're going to buy a donut with the cheap coffee, or they're going to do something else, or they're going to buy breakfast, that's fine. Make it intentional. However, if you're selling something and actually you're losing money every time you sell it, you might want to rethink it. Or if you have things on your record or things that you used to sell and you're not selling any of it, but you have a high stock in the back and you just have old inventory, that's what we call dead stock. So you want to make sure that you handle that. You want to make sure that you take care of that. Now, when I was talking about partnerability before, let me use one other example of partnerability. A lot of companies, based on the amount that you purchase, will give you a discount. When you look at a like business, it may be that you can look at the same vendor and you can split up where it's delivered to. There may be a small fee involved in that. There may be no fee involved in that. Y'all can work it out. But look at how you can look or be with another partner, even someone who sells similar to you, where you can start building and growing in such a way that you can get the benefit of the cheaper dollar amount that you're paying, because you're buying the volume that's needed to get the discount. But it's not just going to you, it's going to 2 or 3 people. And you just need to build that as a relationship for partnerability. Now you need to look at someone's integrity, you need to know their character, you need to know all of that stuff, because you want to make sure that they come to the table with what they said they were going to do, and that you're able to do what you said you were going to do. Now I'm going to pause for just a second to talk about the PPP, and I'm going to talk about also the EIDL. Now those were 2 opportunities that you may or may not have taken. If you took those opportunities, just say yes or no in the chat. If you did take those opportunities, I just want to re-emphasize how important it is to stay within the guidelines that they provided you. For an example, under the PPP, which is Payroll Protection Program, what you need to do is make sure that you put out the payroll that they set up. The payroll amount was typically 75%. You want to make sure that you maintain that and that it's tracked, because it can then become very forgivable. It's forgivable. So you want to make sure that you align that, because you don't want to increase what your organization, your company, your business would ever have to pay out in a loan. Then you want to make sure that you continue to keep records in such a way that if they ever come back for any reason, or your auditor, or you're audited, or your accountant needs that information, that you maintain that. You want to make sure that you have amazing records. So if you need help with that, you might want to hire somebody, because you want to take your energy and make sure it stays on the number one thing, because that thing, the company, the high level view of your company will make a difference. Because when you're in the weeds all the time, what happens is you can't see. You can't see what's really going on. So you want to make sure as you bring the employees back, even if you don't utilize them or they're not as fully employed because you're not as busy, that you set up things that they can do so that you're utilizing their services. The other thing is, keep in mind that the additional $600 right now for unemployment runs out the end of July. So that is a key that you're going to be looking at. So all of those things matter. Keep that in mind because it is imperative that you move forward. Okay? So we're going to go to tactical budgeting. And what tactical budgeting is about frugality, discipline, and self-control. That's all it is. You're strategically looking at how-to tips to make sure that you're frugal, that make sure you're disciplined, and that you maintain self-control. So you want to go beyond just tracking your expenses to planning what you're going to use your money for. You want to be more conscious of what you're doing, and you want to make sure that you eliminate anything that is not required and stick with the things that you need. As you bring your employees back, you want to make sure that you're covered and you have them informed of whatever the health requirements are, any plans you have, any of the programs that you have set up to protect your customers or your employees. Make sure you put that in writing. You want to revisit your business model. As I mentioned before, what should your business model be at this time? Is your current business model viable? Now, all of that is connected to tactical budgeting. You want to tap into any program that is available to you. And when I say that, is any grants, any money that the community has, take the time and make sure that you put in your application and you follow their guidelines. And all of those things are important. Another issue in having to ship products to customers, make sure you pass on any costs that you're looking at or you know what the cost is in your total is includes that cost. So you want to make sure that happens. And again, I cannot stress enough that you want to revisit your business model. It is imperative because what we've done in the past is not necessarily what you're going to be doing in the future. Now the key is, when you look at purpose and process, you look at, we talked about self-discipline and control. The difference in being a thermostat and a thermometer is this. As it relates to your business, as it relates to your personal finances, as it relates to resilience. As it relates to resilience, what you need to do is make sure that you look at the thermometer just tells you what the temperature is in the room. So when you look at everything that's happening right now, it's like, it's crazy. Everything is happening right now could be perceived as negative. Everything happening right now could cause your mental capacity, your brain, everything to be very anxious. But when you move to being a thermostat, you rule. You end up controlling the atmosphere that you're in. You turn the knob down or up based on what you need to do, but you gain self-control. And that is key with business. That is the key with your money. Because see, whether we want to look at it or not, there's no shortage of money. I know there's over 33 million people that have lost their jobs. However, a lot of those people, if not most of them, are either going to get or have received unemployment. So there is money. The key is not just figuring out how to tap into the money that they're going to spend, but making sure that your service or your product is what they're going to reach out and buy. And then that you're strategic about what you're offering, what the portion control is of what you're offering, the excellent service that you're going to be providing. You're going to make sure they understand that they are covered when they come to your facility because of the way you prepare their food or you prepare the service. You're going to do all that because you know what? It's time out for being a thermometer and time in for being a thermostat. So you control what you're doing next. Now, budgeting time and money, when you look at that, you look at the fact that, and I love Monopoly, so that's why I like this picture. This is wishes won't bring riches. Thank you. Riches won't bring wishes. It is imperative that you consider that. Wishes will not bring riches. So whatever you're wishing for, remember we talked about that a little bit, you can wish for things and it ends up being a nightmare. So wishes will not bring riches. It takes us taking control of our environment. It causes us to take control of our resources. It's for us to be resilient. And resilience is not just about making it through a thing and breathing on the other side. It's actually about thriving in the midst of it. It's about making some hard choices now so you can do some things later. And as entrepreneurs and business owners and people that are parents, we know how to do that. We know how to take things and look at things and realign things and make sure that things work out well. We know how to take a penny and stretch it, or $1 and stretch it. That feels like a penny right now. But we can take those things and stretch them. So make sure you stay in control of what you're going to do, because it's not enough to wish for better. It's not enough to wish that your business goes back to the levels it was before the crisis happened. It's going to have to be intentional. The resources are there, and by being conscious, your time conscious, your money conscious, it's going to make the greatest decision that you can make that will move you toward the victory that we know that you have. Because this is what I know, that as a business owner, I know that nothing is perfect, but I know that you have resilience, because we have used this every day. We have been resilient in every area of our life. There is no business owner that hasn't had to work long hours, had to sweat and some blood and tears. I'm gonna say blood and tears, but the key is to use it strategically. Most people, when it comes to spend plans and budgeting, they look at it from a negative perspective because they want to put their hands over their eyes and pretend it doesn't exist. I want to encourage you to make sure that you know what you have in your hands, because until you know what you have, it is harder to make a decision to move forward. It is harder to make a decision where to invest, where to give, where to grow. It is harder to do that. So as soon as you do that, that takes your power back. So remember, it's the GPS, finding out where you're located, and then to tactically looking at every area of your business, comparing it to where it was before, just for information, for revelation, not for tears, okay? And then structuring, what do you give to your clients? Looking at what do they want at this point? What can you offer them? What shifts do you need to make so that you can move in a direction that will cause your business to grow, to stabilize, for more productivity and profitability? Because that's the key. However, let me just say this, is that productivity and profitability is directly related to people. So this is not in spite of people, this is with people. That's why the partnerability makes it. That's why you need mentors. That's why you need coaches. That's why you need consultants. You need that. Because this is what you can see, just like if you had a drone. If you're on the ground and you send a drone up, the drone is taking a picture at a higher level. When you have a mastermind group, when you have coaches, when you have mentors, you look at things, they look at things and ask you the hard questions to keep you accountable. Because if the thought is in my mind, it sounded right when I started, it's probably going to sound right when I make a bad or a good decision. So that is key. So keep that in mind. It's not always about holding on or being silent. It's about knowing what you have in your hands and using it to benefit you in such a way that you will be successful, that you will gain insight, and that when you make it to the other side of whatever crisis that you're dealing with, and even for those who have actually had growth right now during this season, invest and look at how your business can grow and move forward. And then that will make all the difference, not just to you, but it makes a difference to the community. It makes a difference to the taxes you pay and don't pay. It makes a difference to the legacy that you live, not just the legacy you leave. So if you have questions, make sure you put them in the chat. I'm going to address any questions that you have, because we have actually almost come to the end. The only thing I'm going to do is make sure that I thank Josh and our sponsors for this opportunity to serve, and thank each one of you for being on, and even those that will come later, and make sure that this is valuable to them. Don't forget that as you have commented in the chat, I'm going to take those and I'm going to do a drawing, and someone will get the opportunity to have 2 hours of business coaching or 2 hours of coaching. And what I'll do is I'll make sure I put that out there to let everybody know who won. And the other thing is, even if we don't get to all of the questions right now, because this is the time to do that, so please put it in the chat, make sure that you take one thing. What is the one thing that you can take for this? And you can make a difference in where you are now to move forward. What is the one thing that you can look at and say, I knew that, but it's a new twist to it? So make sure you put that in the chat, so people that come after us, that look at it, the replay, will see your one thing, and it will impact them. So it's not about what's in it for you. It's about what's in it for them. So let's move to that as a servant, a trainer, a teacher, a collaborator. I just value each and every one of you, and I want to encourage you to know that there's nothing but greatness ahead. So we're going to go to the chat. Okay, so what we're going to do is, please know this. Right now we don't have anything in the chat. So whatever your mind can conceive and believe, your mind can achieve. Remember that your mind, subconscious mind, never rests. So give it something to do. And finally, as we close, make sure of this, that when you go after and you look at the resources that you have, that you give or assign your resources a purpose, that you remember why you're doing what you're doing, because you have exchanged money for your time, and all of those things matter. So we just want to say, based on BOSS, we just want to tell you thank you, and if any questions come in later, I'll make sure that I go back into the chat and I answer them. This is Johnnie, and we appreciate your time. Oh, we have a question. Okay.
Josh asked if you could reiterate on scaling down before scaling up.
Not a problem. So the scaling down, thank you, Josh, for the question. And it's about scaling down before you scale up. And I'm going to use an example. So I have a client that had over 100 line items, right? And they're a sales company. They, T-shirts, all the stuff that they sell. So we looked at the things that were really hot sellers based on history, and then we sent something out to his clients, to his current customer base, and found out the things that they liked. And then we looked at other organizations, people that are doing the similar things that he's doing, and looked at some of the things they were doing, and then we scaled down. So the reason I say scale down before you scale up is because when you scale down, it gives you more resources. Because then you get a chance to sell off the things that are old stock. So then you end up with income, additional income, resources coming in or in your coffers. Then you can start investing them directly to where you need to go. And then when I say scale up, after you become stable, remember I asked you to look at where you were, look at where you want to be, and then you look at where you're stable. When you're stable, and that doesn't mean one day stability, that means over a 90-day period, you are stable. And you have to identify stability, what you and whoever your accountant is saying is stable for your organization, because it's different for every person. Then you start growing from there. The other thing about scaling down before you scale up is you get a chance, because this client, we got a chance to get rid of, I want to say 30, between 25 and 30 line items that were absolutely not moving. But what he did was he took them and he started giving them away. It was dead stock. So he started saying, if you do this, I'm going to do this. You know, you get 2 t-shirts. If you buy one, you get one of these free. So he was very strategic. So he ended up scaling his stock, his inventory down. And then now, not yet, but we're working to scale up, because the vision and the purpose that he has is bigger than what he's doing. And remember this too. When I say scaling up, that doesn't mean avoiding your international market. Because when you're online, you then become a global company. You have the ability to sell your merchandise anywhere. So that is a key. Then I'll say one other thing. There is something that I'm looking at. Remember I talked about the fact that I had to shift? I actually, and there's another lady, both of us opened brand new companies in the middle of this pandemic. And you say, what in the world are you thinking? It was something that I already have. I have over 47 years of accounting background. And what hit me during this time is the impact to churches and nonprofits. Well, that's been my space the whole time. So even though that may look like I'm scaling up, it really isn't, because I opened this new company that's going to give me the affordability to hire people to provide services to nonprofits and churches to help them become more stable, stay relevant, and move forward. So scaling down doesn't mean just dropping items. It means looking at the main thing and making the main thing the main thing. Because during crisis, it forces us to shift. Because our brain is saying, what can I do to release the pain? And the pain of not knowing, the pain of other people having control, the pain in some cases of sitting at the house by yourself or feeling like you're limited, that kind of pain. So during this season, make sure you look at, again, your why, your what. And when I look at scale down, move down, be more calm, be more sober, look at what's working and what's not, and don't be so attached to it that you won't let it go, or you won't give it to another organization, another company, because you just can't maintain it right now. Because you don't want to do it bad. You want to take the thing and make it irresistible. The thing that you're going to be known for, you want to do it at the highest level of excellence that you can. Okay? Anything else? Okay, guys, thank you again, and I appreciate your support. And make sure you reach out to Josh and put comments in the comment section as you look at this or replay it. It was a lot in a day, so look at how it applies to you and move forward. There's nothing but greatness ahead. This is Johnnie. Thank you.